start from the basics, because there are different interpretations of uncertainty. So how do you define uncertainty? What, in your context, what uncertainty looks like? What are the challenges and opportunities that it poses to global or regional financial institutions in that regard?
For me, uncertainty, apart from the geopolitical tensions and all the financial crisis, mini crisis that we had in the last months, is first of all the potential failure to control distribution channels over new entrants, fintechs, neobanks, etc., big techs. The second is an ever-increasing regulatory burden that creates a non-level playing field between European entities and entities coming from the Americas or Asia. The limited talent pools that reside especially in Europe. And the fourth one is the major disruption that is imminent. It's already happening by AI. So these are some challenges that I have in mind. Now, as in the past, the Holy Grail was to be the first mover, the first one that's going to be launching products, services, partnerships, M&As, etc. And this had become, an obsession. I think that we have lost a little bit the focus on what is needed in order to be resilient in turbulent times. And this is not only to be, innovative, but also to be able to have continuous adaptivity, to be prone to change in business and operational models, and also to be constantly agile. So as you move forward, in order to make this happen, I think that you have to select, as a bank, two different ways. Either you are going to become a pure servicer of banking as a service, staying at the back of the value chain, having low risks and low yields. Either you are going to be a front runner, being, wherever the customer is, integrated in the distribution channels, competing with the fintechs, and having higher risks and higher yields. The first one, I think, is a game that you run the danger to become obsolete. I think that at the end of the day, a pure banking as a service model has incredible running costs that are going to negate the revenues if you don't have anything else to sell. The second, powered by opportunities like, open banking, the embedded finance agenda that we saw earlier on the panel, AI and data monetization, give you the ability to compete in the new arena, but necessitate skills, necessitate business relationships, and investment in technology that have to be done promptly, otherwise you are going to lose share. I think this is in a nutshell what I think about it.
How does the immune system of a large organization, of a traditional bank, react to this mentality of move fast, move small, and then iterate? And what are perhaps the important elements that need to change? Is it a leadership behavioral change? Is it an overarching development culture? What is it that will fight that immune system?
Well, to be practical again, we are 200 years old bank, so it's a legacy issue out there that we have to confront, and we confront it by having a very strong transformation program that managed to tackle the majority of long-standing issues. So we have heavily invested in our digital infrastructure. We have addressed many of the key processes and mission-critical systems like our new core banking system, which is a very huge and complex program. We have tried to be outside of the NBG world, to build relationships, to reshape our distribution channels with our open banking offering. And of course, we still have legacy processes that we want to tackle, but they are in the picture and they are measured as they change very rigorously. And I think that the key element here is the leadership that you are going to have. So we had an endorsement both from our CEO and our board in order to proceed with that change. We were funded, a very important thing. And we always press ourselves to become better. Now, if you want to have a vision of becoming an adaptive bank, you have to be open for the years to come. You have to be lean. You have to eliminate all the internal red tape and hide the regulatory burden from your customers. You have to be digital from head to toes, not only in your digital front end, but also in every other aspect that is affecting the value chain. Because when we say digital, usually we mean web banking and open banking, and then you have legacy applications of the bank, doing their own thing. You have to exploit your data. Your data is your asset. It's your true IP. Everything else should be commoditized. Nurture your talent or acquire the talent that you miss. And have an open eye and ears about developments like the artificial intelligence one. So the vehicle for us was transformation program. The key element was leadership, and of course, to be practical, was also the funds, the budget.
Okay. I want to build on your point around data exploitation, data analysis, basically, and making use of customer data, because financial institutions have a ton of it, but perhaps they don't know how to penetrate it or link them to product positioning. And how this changing, because you talked about Damaso, about technology ever evolving. Yep. We see that change in the dynamics that different players, for example, Apple and Goldman Sachs announced last week that they're launching current accounts. So the element of data penetration becomes ever more prevalent, because it's not only banking data that you can penetrate, it's usage data of consumable products that people use every day, every minute of their lives. So how does these implications compare with, obviously I want to address the elephant in the room, generative AI and all of this discussion that's taking place about how it's going to replace processing, replace coding, replace decision-making, basically replace everything. So what's behind this? How does this address perhaps the strategies of tomorrow?
Yeah. Well, first of all, we already use, I think, in all financial institutions, discriminative AI in anti-fraud, AML, in contact centers, everywhere. Now, how we're going to embed the Gen AI in our everyday journeys, it's yet something to be explored, but somebody is going to do it, for sure. And this is going to be a major disruption. It's going to happen in the next years, and it's going to disrupt tremendously the whole value chain of financial services, in credit risk, in underwriting, in infrastructure management, software development, in the contact centers, literally everything. And to be honest, some of the basic fundamental operating models that systemic banks are using are going to be overturned, and positions are going to be lost. Some others are going to be generated, but positions are going to be lost. So there is another aspect of the AI implementation. So Gen AI poses both a threat and an opportunity for banks, especially the systemic banks that hold large data sets. But we have to remember that somebody else is holding even bigger data sets than us, which is the big techs. So if they decide to aggressively move into financial services, and they are permitted by the regulator to do so, which is highly unlikely, but it may happen, we are going to be in big trouble, because they have sophisticated AI engines, they had huge data lakes, and they know the daily activity of the customers much better than we do. So we have to be fast in that case to understand which are the journeys that we have to focus and embed Gen AI quickly, and how we are going to protect our assets.